Are you tired of throwing around big weights and just being generally strong and resilient? Well, then, boy, do I have the video for you, because today I'm going to talk about how to make your back weak and fragile. If you follow these steps, then you're almost guaranteed to have a back made of glass that will fail you when you need it most. Let's get to it. The first step is to believe that your back is the only area of your body that can't adapt. This is crucial because it lays the groundwork for your belief system and line of thinking when it comes to choosing exercises, avoiding exercises, and how you approach movement in your day-to-day life. If you believe that your back can adapt, well, then you're absolutely insane. The human body would never evolve in such a way. Obviously, it evolved to have a flawed design. Crucial structures and the structures around them are made to not adapt. We as humans are made to struggle to survive, and it's actually a miracle that we made it this far and didn't die out as a species with our fragile backs. And since our backs can't adapt, and that is just how we're designed, we can come to the conclusion that the back is a little bit more like a machine or like a car. And what happens when you drive your car? Well, over time, the parts wear down and you need to take it to a mechanic to fix them or get them replaced. The exact same thing goes for the machine parts in your back. You have to go to a back mechanic to get your back fixed, and eventually they'll wear down so much that you have to get them replaced. Understanding this is very crucial for this next step, which is to be afraid and avoid. If your back is wearing down with every movement, then you need to be afraid and start avoiding things. The key thing here is that not all movement is created equal. Movements that involve bending use your back more, so you have to be sure to be extra afraid of those movements and avoid bending at all costs. That's right, it means you can't pick up your kids because that will only hurt your back. You have to be sure to not bond with them and not love them in their early stages of life because they are a danger to your back. And when it comes to exercise, that means movements that involve rounding your back cause more wear and tear there, so they're an absolute no-go. Jefferson curls are absolutely off the table. The rest of your body adapts favorably to being stressed and working through a full range of motion. In fact, it's actually good for it. But not that robotic back of yours. Let's just say that you still decide to deadlift, which is already taking money out of your back savings account and is a bad idea. You should be absolutely terrified of accidentally rounding your back in order to minimize damage. Make sure that you're overly neurotic about your form, and if you feel any movement or sensation in your back, drop the weight, because that means that your back has exploded and you're likely screwed for life. And if you still decide to deadlift, then you have to keep lowering the weight in order to not feel it in your back. And every time you go to deadlift, you need to ask yourself this.
Would you rather, as your goal, have the ability to play with your grandchildren on the floor when you're 80 and get off the floor and pick them up? And they pause for a minute and they'll say, yeah, I like that goal. I said, well, you can't have both.
Now, for the rest of your body, you usually need to stress it hard enough to drive that adaptation and get stronger. So for example, let's take your quads. If you're working them hard, you're probably going to feel them and they're going to be tired and fatigued after. And working them through a full range of motion is great for the muscles as well as for your knee joints. This is probably going to lead to a little bit of muscle soreness and maybe even some stiffness for the next day or two. And that's normal. That's just your body getting used to it and adapting to that stimulus. But for your back, you should never stress it. Because if you do, that doesn't mean you're getting stronger. That means you're breaking everything down. And if you get soreness after working out your back, that should be cause for panic because back muscles don't get sore. That soreness can only come from one thing, and that is an exploded spine. Remember, your back is the only part of your body that breaks all the rules and doesn't respond like it's human tissue. So to sum up this whole point, you should be petrified about using your back because it will hurt it. And this fear should cause you to avoid all movements that could potentially use your back. That means no picking up your kids, no taking out the garbage, no picking up anything off the ground, because all of those will use your back and you will hurt it. Now for the third and final point, I want to call back to when I said,
if you believe that your back can adapt, well, then you're absolutely insane. The human body would never evolve in such a way.
Because that relates to how our core muscles work. And the way that they work is to resist motion. All other skeletal muscles work by contracting, which then moves bones closer together by moving them around their respective joints. But if your core muscles did this, that would make your spine bend. And now we understand that those bends would eventually destroy it. However, sometime in the history of the human species, our core muscles evolved to develop sentience. And that sentience allowed them to understand that their purpose was to not work like every other skeletal muscle, but instead, their purpose was to resist motion. The only problem is that this sentience is latent. That means that you have to activate this innate ability. And the way to do that is to sacrifice 4 pigs to Stuart McGill and send a couple feet pics to Squat University. Once you do this, you'll notice that you're no longer able to do a sit-up because your spine can no longer bend or rotate more than 5 degrees. This will allow for perfect robotic movement, and you will be met with extreme stiffness whenever you try to move like a human. It will greatly decrease the amount of movements that you can do and grossly limit your human experience, but the positive is that you will be saving those finite number of bends that your back has. This means that the only exercises that you can do to work your core muscles are planks, dead bugs, Pallof presses, or any other movement that doesn't move your spine more than 5 degrees. This means that you have to be extremely cautious at all points of the day, especially in the morning, because you can no longer handle doing a sit-up. If you're careless and try to get out of bed by just doing a sit-up, then you could ruin your life in the first 2 minutes of your day just simply by trying to move like a human. So to wrap everything up, if you believe that your back can't adapt, you'll become afraid of movements, avoid movements, and eventually your body won't have the capacity to bend or twist or move anything under load. You will get a fragile and weak back. So thank you for watching this, and if you follow this advice, then you'll go out there and make absolutely no gains. But if you do the opposite, then you'll go out there and make some gains.